Продовжуємо розмову з президентом Канадсько-української фундації імені Тараса Шевченка. Під час цієї розмови Андрій Гадишевський цікаво підкреслює, що основною підпорою всеціло зорганізованого політичного впливу на канадський уряд є наша культурна діяльність, яка впливає на ширше канадське суспільство.
Ми тепер бачимо, що ця сила, що ми маємо в Канаді, тепер має великий відгук з нашим урядом.
Абсолютно.
І уряд має великий відгук в світі для України. So these things are all related. They're all related. When we had the Lisica controversy, how I was asked, why should I, as a cultural leader, ban an artist from performing? Well, the issue is what you stand for. The issue is what your organization stands for, which is allowing the creative spirit to move forward. I agree. But when there is a movement to destroy creativity in a culture and focus it the way it's been focused against Ukraine and Ukrainians, you cannot allow an artist on stage that is advocating the destruction of another culture. It's counterproductive to your essence and your being. What's interesting, though, is the fact that even in that area, most organizations in Canada got this and understood this.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not sure that was the case in other countries, but in Canada, they understood the sensitivity, and they said, you have a valid point. And we understand that you are unique. You're not Russian. And what you've brought to this country is more than simply small culture. You've helped improve this country. You've added value to this country. You are the leaders for this country. New immigrants, other people that come here, look at the Ukrainian community and go, we have to be more like them. We have to be more like them. Self-reliant, but an ability to share culture with not being too insular, and still, I would say, maintaining, if you will, a community dignity about their place in history, which includes Canadian history, and their place in Canadian society, and that's the role. That's one of the roles of the foundation on that cultural side. That's why we have such creative people. That's why the applications keep growing every year. They don't go the other way. So going to the public and saying we need $20 million to add to our capital fund so that all of these things can move forward, at least at a minimum. The need is huge. We are just not meeting even the minimal need of what these grant recipients need. I mean, we're very rarely funding large percentages of their applications. They're usually putting in their own money, getting other sources of funding, and we're there to make sure that the thing finally happens, that it becomes feasible to do these things. And it's a wonderful, magnificent endeavor. You have to have creative lunatics, like Yuri Klufas, to sort of look at this. This was somebody's idea once. It was an idea. There are hundreds of thousands of people here, good for you, that bought into an idea. But there are lots of people like you out there, right? And in different endeavors, in different cultural endeavors. And I don't want them to have to shut their door or shut the window to that creativity when we have a community that can actually afford to do that. And here we are. We're now at another level. We managed to obtain a successful orbit around this cultural planet, and it's time to increase the velocity and get beyond that, where there is infinite possibilities for us. So I'm very proud of all of the volunteers in the foundation, all the people who are originally the founders and the board of directors. As you know, in the heart and soul that you put into this, there's thousands of hours that go into being a volunteer.
And a lot of good people.
But I've also met a lot of good people along the way. And sometimes you understand when it's late at night, and maybe you've been away from family too long, and you're kind of feeling tired, and you're going, you're just muching. But then you'll see the next, like the Spival High kids from Saskatoon come out, fresh-faced young kids doing Kopalo songs, or you'll see a gifted artist or the Griffin Trio. You'll go, that re-energizes me to say, I can go a little farther with this.
During a visit recently to Edmonton, We visited with Mr. Stelmach, and he took us to the Ukrainian village where they moved his home recently.
Yes, the Heritage Village. Yes.
And I've been on this sort of like 3-year plan here at the festival. Next year, and we're in the middle of it, but next year will be the 20th anniversary of our festival.
Yes.
But more importantly, we'll have 25 years of the independence of Ukraine. And still more important, at least from the perspective here in Canada, 125 years of Ukrainian settlement in Canada.
Absolutely.
And being in Edmonton and comparing to Toronto, it's sort of almost presumptuous to be celebrating 125 years in Toronto, but we're actually not celebrating. We're honoring your input. But one of the things that I thought would be great is to have, that home of Mr. Stelmach, or the перша церковця, яка будувалася в Україні, and put it here on Bloor Street.
Wow.
And have people
Come and
see that. Like I know the Heritage Village has a lot of people, but I think that somehow the 625,000 in one weekend can really
I think that
do
would
a
be a
good
marvelous
job.
project. I think that would be a marvelous
So
project.
is there any way that we could work, Shevchenko Foundation and dealing with of Ontario government, dealing with provincial government, and create a trio that can
Absolutely.
help bring something like
But
this
you know
over?
that a cultural object like that, we got to cut through a lot of red tape.
Yes.
Because it will be considered, how can this thing be? It's not difficult to transport these things.
Yeah, get one of those Beria planes, donated by Ukrainian government.
There you go.
Think big, why not?
Think big. But that 125th year anniversary is a very significant milestone, and I know that all levels of government already understand that, because we've already been telling them it is significant, and it's significant for Canada, not just our community. And you talk about Premier Stelmach. I mean, his, this is a pioneer family.
Absolutely.
It goes back to the earliest of days, and Ed will be so humble about it, well, I became premier, but it really, and then, he gave up having a career in law because because of
He wanted
an
to
issue.
maintain, yes.
An issue happened in his family that he actually had to stop that, and had to go back to the family farm to maintain. So, a man who's made a great sacrifices.
And we've invited Mr. Stelmach many times to be our parade festival marshal.
Yes.
And you know what the problem is? Żniwo. Harvest. He says,
Well-
Yurko, I got to help my brother and my family. My must żniwa
Yeah, well,
There you go.
You can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
Yeah. І то саме з паном Городинським, який
Yes.
також цілий час, який великий підтримує фестиваль.
Yes.
Такий, Юрко, я не можу, бо я, і пан Стельмах, і пан Городинський, їм подобається парті, вони
Yes.
вміють святкувати, але праця є працею, і то є понад усе.
Contributions from people like his family, I still don't think Canadians really understand just how heroic they were, how alone they were, how difficult it was. And you can't just say, well, you're telling the old pioneer story over and over again. But Canadians, I think, in some ways respect that, and I think some people in government have come to respect it a lot more. But it is something that we're very proud of. And I think Canadians truly understand that. But we should also learn from those experiences.
Absolutely.
Right? We should learn what they gave, and that self-reliance was a big part of that. And having a community that is self-reliant has a bigger place at the table with government, because you're not there on a needy basis,
Так.
right? And so
You're contributing.
Organizations like Cook need to be supported, Ukrainian World Congress needs to support it, and the community needs to support the Shevchenko Foundation, because when we come to the government table, we come as equals. The hand isn't out, all right? And they respect that. People then respect what you've done, and then you have more influence. And then you have even more influence and more partnerships. It isn't just influencing, it's also partnering to see that those things happen.
Добре, то тоді на кінець плануємо на наступний рік,
О, я дуже хочу
125-й
тут
рік,
бути.
і ми б дуже радо
Ну.
з нашої сторони зробили
Я
все,
знаю, що я
можна.
приїду.
То би було там на головній нашій вулиці українську церковцю.
Вау, ми мусимо про це дійсно мати розмови про це.
Добре.
Це цікава ідея.
Дорогі глядачі, це була Ну, принаймні, чи, на мою думку, надзвичайно цікава розмова з президентом Шевченківської фундації імені Тараса Шевченка, паном Андрієм Гладишевським. Дуже дякую, що ви з нами побули.
Дякую, що ви мене запросили.